We have a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight's meeting will be videotaped by Mike Hawley and audio taped by the council. This time to take public comment. Before we start, I want to reiterate again, you have 5 minutes. That's your chance to speak. There will be no more public comment during the meeting.
Hi, Mary Lasher, Harrison Street. I was an auditor with Bertie and Mickey for several years. Previous to that, Bertie and I were auditors. In all those years, never did we bring to council 600 and some copies. I was wondering what these copies are that were brought. I wasn't here last week. Can anyone tell me what those are and what was the purpose of it?
You don't know either. We asked for receipts for them, and
You only have a receipt for, well, I see 2 of the auditors are here. Could they not explain it?
Mr. President, may I ask
go ahead.
one question? To your knowledge, do you remember how many copies you or the prior auditing team made?
The only
back
thing
up?
we ever brought here was our final copy showing the expenses, the revenues. I mean, it's been 3 years. I'm 81 years old, so my memory isn't that great.
One final copy which consists
We would
of
bring it to council. One copy.
one copy to council, and then the other 2 copies went to...
But,
One stayed with the auditors, one went to council, one went to the state, and one went to...
but those were books.
Yes.
Do they fill out books now? Do you fill out books? Maybe everything's done on computers now.
Yeah, they don't,
It's filed.
they don't mail out books, but,
They don't do that.
no, but,
It's filed electronically.
Yeah.
so there should,
So no one can answer that question as to what's on these copies.
In your opinion, you think that's excessive, 600 and some copies?
Pardon
You
me?
think that's excessive, 600 and some copies?
I don't know what they are. I think it's very excessive considering I don't know what's on them. What would be so, I don't know.
And you know, when Ms.
What?
Augustine gets here, I hope she can explain that to you, because that has nothing to do with, you know, Sherry and I.
With what?
why
That has-
wouldn't it? You're
Well, you're an
We're auditors,
auditor.
But we did not make them copies.
But did you not see the copies?
She,
Do you know what
she-
they're copies of?
She
Can you
made the
explain?
copies elsewhere. We don't have anything to do with the copies.
You did
Now-
not see any of the copies, Mike, that she made.
The copies of the forms, but the 600 copies they're
600
asking.
Our
copies were
worksheets
made.
are like 28 pages that we were, working on and entering them in, and she made copies for you, but to explain,
Yeah, 628
Can we-
copies.
I have no
I
explanation.
want to clarify that, if you feel
I
excessive.
cannot
that is not us.
understand.
So you got, both of you guys detach yourself from that 628 copies, other than the
Yes.
ones that you, one had 7, one had 28, one of you
Yes,
2.
and to be honest, I didn't even want paid for the copies that I had, either has shared.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank
both.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We also would like to request that we get those copies back in our hand, because those are West County Borough copies. I mean, that is something that should not be left the Borough building, that should be still on Borough premises.
And in fact, there's stipulations that there are certain items auditors are not permitted to make copies of and retain, and prosecution can be made to the team of auditors because they made copies of documents that they did not need to. Now, that's not verbatim from the book, but I have read that.
Like I said, we.
Okay, I appreciate your
Understand.
honesty.
Mrs. Lasher, we will try to find that
That's
out
what-
for you.
Yeah,
We
we're
would
gonna
like to
try.
know.
Thank you.
Not at all.
Any other public comment?
Larry Smith, Northern Avenue.
Larry?
Yes.
Thank you.
I've been asking about getting an alley open since last November. I was wondering if we have any answers on that yet.
Eddie,
Ed,
did you go over there and look at that?
yeah.
We went and looked now.
I have a paper, the alley's gonna have to be surveyed first. Second thing, if we can go through there, the sewer authority is going to have to change our manhole. We're gonna have to find out from the gas company, they have told us that there is a high-pressure gas line that goes through there. And I don't know where it's at, and it hasn't, one call has not marked it yet.
They have part of it marked.
Pardon me?
They marked part of it.
Did they go up the alley?
They marked part of it out the alley. They haven't marked the whole thing. They're gonna put new electric pole in up there. They marked out there where the electric pole is.
The survey, the alley to be surveyed, would that cost be incurred by Wkcm Borough?
Yes.
What's the purpose of having this alley opened? I'm just curious. I must have missed it.
I'd like to use it.
Would it just be for you? Is there other,
If anybody else wanted to use it, they could too.
but I mean, is there other homes on that
It
premises?
goes all the way up to.
Chris
French
Camelli, Northern Avenue. I think it would be a great detriment to Wkcm to
Wait a
open that alley.
One at a time.
Yeah, one by the, yeah, it's,
You'll have your chance.
Larry needs a finish. Here's the comment period.
No, that's,
Oh, you-
I just asked
oh,
for the
okay, all right,
answer. That's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
All right, we wouldn't, not to cut you off. All right.
Chris Camelli, Northern Avenue, Wkcm. I can't see any value to opening that alley. That alley has been closed. I've been there 25 years. I've cut the grass there, maintained it. I really can't see what the purpose would be in opening it.
Well, the thing of it too, I think we gotta look at the cost value. I know,
Yes,
I know that
I
thing's
agree with you
quite
very highly. I
expensive.
mean, it's gonna be very costly to put that alley in, even to the end of his property. If there's an alternative way that can be done, we'll look into, we've been looking into it. It's just been, it takes time, trying to get everybody together.
I know there's a water line and storage sewer.
There's a storage,
Full way from the top to the bottom.
yeah.
The water line doesn't go the whole way.
It done? I thought it
It
went
comes from the top halfway down.
There's a storage line that right at the corner.
But the way it is now, they can't use it. I mean, you can't, utilities people come over there and park in my driveway all the time to do it on there.
We'll see we've been looking into it. It just takes a lot of time to get all the people in place to get there.
Well, Bob was over and looked at it, and he didn't seem to think it was too much problem for what.
Well, I didn't understand that there was a gas line that went down through
But we are pursuing it. I mean,
there. Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah,
so.
we're
all right.
looking into it.
So, eventually we'll come up with a cost?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure that,
So,
yeah, the gas line has to be deep enough. I mean, they put the sewage line in after the gas line was in. It's
Yeah.
steel pipe, it's got plastic run through it, because it's low pressure to start with. From low pressure to start with, and then they run plastic through the steel and change the, I think it's like 35 pounds. It's not.
okay, well, all I can tell you, Henry must be spearheading this, and he'll come up with a cost, at least it's moving in that direction.
If any utility vehicles need parking, they're more than welcome to park in my driveway.
Any other public comment? Joe?
Joe Morris, Wkcm Emergency Management Coordinator. I have a request for a resolution to be passed for the new emergency operations procedures for Wkcm. It's been updated quite a bit. It's taken me a while, and I'm still updating it. I'm asking for anyone that's handicapped, hearing impaired, or anything like that, if they would want to be included in this here in case there would be an emergency, we could know where you're at. The copies will only be one with me and one with 911. Other than that, that'll be it. I'm trying to locate any kind of drawings such as water lines, gas lines, utilities, and whatever to include with this. Also, I have a drawing that I will be including with this of mines underneath the town. Now, you got to remember, we're sitting on 5 coal mines that take this whole town and part of East Franklin, North Buffalo. So I'll present this here. Go ahead.
As far as the documentation of the water lines, sewer lines, gas lines, and Wkcm, in your viewpoint, how well are they documented, percentage-wise?
Anything in the last 30 years, yes.
100%, but prior to that?
It's a flip.
Okay, thank you.
In front of my house, I have a old sewer line that was caved in for years, but that's another agenda.
Okay.
Present this here.
Council resolution.
Yeah, it has to be signed and returned.
You said you were still working on it, or you're done now? You're done?
Done with that part.
Okay, so does our solicitor at this point have to read this?
He can. It's an open document.
I
Yeah.
have a question on the handicapped and the hearing impaired and what, so how are you gonna contact all of the residents to see if they wanna be a part of it? Because obviously they're not here. How do we get out to
I would
our
like
community?
to put something in the paper if the town would do that. Most of this here is done on my coin. I have not received anything from the borough as to budget costs or anything. That's another subject there in itself. I'd like to have budgeted in sometime this year or for next year, at least 2 portable radios, high band, to be used, since I have no communication with 911 no more, except by cell phone of my own. I am looking for other people. I need at least 6 other people to be as other administrative staff and financially assist me by the borough. I do not wish to have a fireman, not saying that they would not be good, but they've got their thing to do. We can't take one to support the other. So,
Now, would the fire company, sorry, Patty.
That's right.
Would the fire company have that list of handicapped people and are hearing
No.
impaired? No? Wouldn't you think that would be a good idea for them to assist in having them relocated to a
that's
safe?
another big story in itself.
All right, well, we won't dive into that right now, but yeah, that's something. you know,
Definitely
we-
need to know.
If you're somewhere doing something and we can't get a hold of you and the other person has a portable radio, can't get a hold of him, what's gonna happen?
I
We
had
have
a
to have a
system-
contingency plan.
I had a
for that.
system up until about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. He moved out of the area. He
So
worked
you're
with me
asking for
very good.
volunteers?
Pardon?
So you're asking for volunteers?
Correct. And according to state, it's the borough's responsibility to support me and furnish me and cover some costs. But, you know, if we bring us here up with what I have intent on, we'll be well above board. We'll be ahead of the 8
Well,
ball.
we certainly need a budget number. To kick that around in your head, you don't need to tell us right now, but, you know, for budgetary purposes, it would be nice
Maybe
to
we need to
know.
have a special meeting, or not a special meeting, but
Sit down
to this, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Whichever committee that would sit down with them and discuss it, you know.
Jim, my question is, has a county solicitor looked over this? I mean, I know.
Yes.
it's the county.
That's where I receive it from. It's the basic status program throughout the whole state for a borough of our
So
size.
the county solicitor has looked over that and approved it.
Yes.
And when's the time frame that has to be passed by?
I'd like to have it tonight so I can turn it in here tomorrow. Before me, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Do we do this every year?
Yeah, due to the fact that, Yeah, I mean, due to the fact that the county solicitor did look that over, I'll take his word for it also, as well as our own solicitor.
Well, it's pretty much prepared through the state and into the county, from the county down to the municipalities and townships.
Thank you.
It's gone from a 10-page to what you see today. So,
All right.
All right, thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Any other public comment?
Michael Kunzman,
Pardon?
Michael Kunzman, 363 Butler Road.
Did you say Kunzelman?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question. Have you guys looked any farther into the car carrier?
No, we have not.
Into the what?
The car carrier?
Oh, you know, I do have a comment on that. That's the one in front of the street as far as unloading, loading and
Yes.
unloading. Just, I understand that it's a safety issue, but we don't want to run them out of our community because they have to have a place to unload. Where do the places in the big cities unload their vehicles or in other areas? I mean, it's just something that is a part of unloading, and the driver is aware of, you know, his.
What's unfortunate, Paula?
It
It's not
is,
that-
but I'm just saying, you know, like, I don't wanna go to them and say, you cannot unload here, and then they're gonna not wanna have their business in our community.
It's not about that though. They don't want the carrier on their property because of the
Who?
asphalt.
There's not enough room.
There's
And
not enough room.
If you go up where Brandy's was, Brandy Brothers, they could unload right there. But, you know,
Mike, it's a state street. If you want to take it up to the state, that's fine, but I don't see any reason why we should push it.
you guys realize though, when you hit one of them carriers, that goes on you.
That goes on the person that parked it there.
No, it goes on you, Kenny. If you hit a driver, if you hit that driver, that goes on your insurance.
Where we parked that in the city, we parked it right on the road.
Okay,
I
but
mean,
we're not in the city.
on
And
the
if,
road.
there's gonna be
On
a
the
time though
road.
when we have an emergency vehicle that comes down through there and they're not gonna get through.
How do they
Because
not get through? They got the front, the lanes on both sides.
if the carrier's in the middle, Kenny, and there's cars slowing down to get through there, how does the emergency vehicle get through there?
They pull up.
They're gonna have to wait.
I'm not gonna fall in.
No, the last time I talked to the state, they said that there was no problem with them setting in that middle lane, unloading vehicles. It would have to be taken up further with the borough. It was discussed this time and
Yes.
time and time again. That is not the only place in West County that happens. When they deliver tombstones to the monument place, they shut that whole intersection off. Because I've sat there. I've personally seen it. They shut 268 down, 422, that whole intersection. That guy takes 52 backups to get that thing in there, all right? And that's, like I said, that's not the only place.
But does
all
he
right?
unload it on the highway?
No, he does not unload it.
He backs into the-
But, I mean, it's still creating a traffic issue. So, you know, in my viewpoint, it's commerce. I want to keep commerce in West Katanning. It's revenue for West Katanning. Is it unsafe to a certain point?
So
Yes.
basically,
So
any
slow
business,
down.
so basically, any business West Katanning, if our lots are full, our customers can park in the middle of the highway.
If you're unloading something, if you're a delivery person.
It doesn't just
He
specify.
can't park
delivery.
there, he's unloading and leaving, he's
Listen,
not.
I talked to a current state trooper and a retired state trooper, and they told me there's nothing you can do. That it's basically legal for them to stop in that middle lane.
Well,
and
we as the
unload
borough could
cars.
have done it. The council could have made it, you know, with an ordinance on it.
We don't want to push the issue. We've talked about it. Not to be disrespectful to you, Mike, but, and we don't want to be disrespectful to the community, the people that they're delivering to. We've talked about it. And we don't want to do it.
Well, a driver even told me, he's told he's not supposed to pull on the property to ruin their asphalt.
But regardless of the reason, he's permitted to park in that lane, and unless anybody else in council, I consider it a dead issue. And it does not require any more conversation.
The thing of it is, they're gonna do a huge remodeling project on that building. I mean, they're gonna basically redo the whole building.
Business is good then.
They, when they get a permit a couple months ago, at least 2 months. Yeah, they were gonna redo it, and I've seen the plan, well, actually, I got the plan, Jim gave me the plan, and it's gonna be nice.
And maybe within that, then maybe they will have a pull-off spot for the trucks. You know, maybe down
I
the
know they don't
road,
have very
it's a
long
possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we ever get a gas station beside us, they'll be saying they can unload on the middle of the highway. That's just stupid. But, the weed garden, are you just gonna take care of that, or is this gonna be, as year to year, I keep passing the buck on that too?
A what?
The weed garden.
Weeds around, from between
Wait,
Mike's
I
place.
thought they planted that
They were
crown
supposed
bench.
to put wildflowers in there and
But
it's up.
I saw the crown bench, and that's what you wanted to put on your hillside in the back. It would look the same.
You're-
No, his lot is,
This-
your lot has been cut beside there.
I'm sorry.
Your lot has not been cut as of a couple of days when I, drove past there, rode past there. I noticed it hasn't been cut.
Exactly. It's not.
So it goes back and forth, borough or PennDOT.
Exactly. Thank you, Nancy.
Well, it's PennDOT's, it's actually PennDOT's responsibility. Henry, we went into this, looked into this agility thing, program. Henry, they requested a map of West Canton. They wanted to see our streets, how many streets we had. Now, I know Henry, when was it, a week ago?
Yeah, we could go, I turned a map into the engineer.
Now, I won't be able to get a hold of them to talk to them again on Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah, because I don't get home.
But Cliff and I have been down that road, and he's helped me out in the past with that. And as he was told as well, that was bounced back on the borough's responsibility.
It was. So,
I don't know where you were involved in that meetings, but
My understanding is, the only thing that we're responsible for is, I told you, Ken,
yeah.
believe it or not, they put that new road in. We're responsible, all the catch basins, all the pipe that runs along that road,
No, we-
except for the grates.
Right, we
Grates
talked
that
about
are
this at the last meeting, and it's in the minutes, correct?
What is that?
well, I know Cliff and I understood each other. We're responsible for also the culvert. If anything gets clogged in there, the borough's responsible for that, for the clean out.
I don't know, I don't think.
The screens are, is their response, if something happens to the screens, that's the state's responsibility.
Grates, though.
The grates, yeah, screens, whatever, everything else is our responsibility. Last time I talked to the
Yeah.
people.
Mr. President,
Yes.
it is noted in the June minutes, Mike Hawley asked if the borough was going to cut the weeds between his property and the new intersection. President Dineski said it is PennDOT's property, and we are trying to work out an agreement with them.
That's why they
And
want
Mr.
to
Hawley claimed,
No,
and
so-
Neil confirmed that it is borough property. President Dineski will check with PennDOT.
Who said it was borough property?
When I
Cliff
talked, when I talked to them
and,
last.
Cliff,
That's not what they did.
Right, they tell us different
Yeah.
stories.
Mr. Hawley claimed,
So
and
they're telling-
Councilperson Neal.
Right.
Yeah, depends on who you talk to.
So we
Well, I
have
mean,
in
you're
our
gonna meet
minutes
with them
on
Friday?
June, we did address it.
Unless Henry can get down before.
I can do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
How long would that take the borough to mow?
Well, you're gonna have to use a weed eater.
You,
We have to cut down one.
you blow your weed eater out.
There.
You need a lot more push mark.
So if PennDOT's union, we can't be doing work for them, because then we're gonna get into,
No, they have, it's called agility.
and we're a part of that for them.
Anybody is, any municipality.
So bottom line takeaway is you're gonna meet with them again Friday and see what's
Well,
going on?
Henry's gonna get
I'll
down.
meet with them tomorrow, I'll go down.
Oh, okay, all right.
And it would take approximately about 15, 20 minutes with the push mark. But you could, if you did that with the weed eater, you'd be crazy.
All right, so it is being pursued.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nancy.
Mr. Morris, you had your hand up earlier. Did you have another comment?
One comment real quick. I almost killed or seriously hurt 2 truck drivers. One was parked in the middle. He actually was unchaining the car, backed straight up in front of me, within 10 feet of me. I had to sprag on the brakes. Number 2, there was an eastbound truck on the side coming into Wkcm, just past Hawley's store. That man stepped off the truck, back facing towards me. I almost hit him. These people are not watching what they're doing. They're going in doing a job fast. That's all I have for that. Number 2 subject. In front of my house, ever since I moved there, either there's a storm sewer or some other kind of sewer, because my drain pipes go out to the street. I fixed them once. This here is collapsing. So far, it's about 5 feet deep. It's on the right of way. I don't know if there's a street sewer there or what. Talking to some of the neighbors, there was one put in there years and years ago. If this here could be looked into.
I agree on our.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, we had several comments about that, and we were down there, I was down there myself, and the site is looking at both of those catch basins on the corners, and the one up there on towards your house.
This is right in front of my house.
Yeah, we couldn't question whether we had a catch basin, we didn't know what was going on, but, we all.
Now, talking to my neighbors years ago, he rinsed his gutters out and he went down to the corner there on First and Harrison to see if water was coming out. Whether there's something else down there, but when I moved in there and I dug that up, I ran everything to the street. That's 9-10 years ago.
All right,
We're
well,
aware of that then?
I'll go over with Henry evening this week. Because we have been looking at other catch basins.
I'd like to have you guys investigate ours on Arthur Street, because our water, when it rains, just pours down, like it just comes down so like a river. And my basement's been getting flooded, so it's been terrible. And I think lifts and.
Yeah, mine does
Mrs.
too.
Connie is too.
It's, when you buy a house in the late 1800s, it doesn't have
We've been
French
having-
drains, that's what you get, you know, but it's buyer beware. You know, I knew that going in, and I've, in-ground pool several times a year, but it drains back out through the cracks.
All right,
All right.
any other public comment? Okay, at this time, I'd like to call an executive session for the purpose of personnel, finance, and legal matters.